Okay, welcome everyone. So today's session is about resolving trust issues. So the way we will go through the session is we will start by creating a model of what means trust in a relationship and how lack of trust impacts. We will also share what kind of strategy you can choose if you are uh, dealing with trust issues and what could be an approach that you can take in resolving them one by one progressively. We will then get into meditation. You will experience, we'll take one subject around trust for you and go deeper inside through meditation and through tuning fork. And then we will come back at the end to talk about it. And if you have any questions, we can use that to resolve. Okay, so let's talk about trust. So I took this definition from Charles Feldman. It's basically a leadership coach. And it says that trust is choosing to make something important to you vulnerable to actions of someone else, which means where you open up so that someone else can have an impact on you, so you become vulnerable on that, and can be trust on many things, and we will go into detail. And and trust is not something that is granted. It is built in small moments and gestures, and it starts right from early childhood and continues all through your life. Now, the distrust is actually something that I shared with you something of me that is not safe with you. So that creates distrust. And distrust normally comes from events, from traumas that lead to distrust, both oneself and the others. In a trusting model, there is always two. There is you and there's someone else. So if you get into why trust is important in relationship, because it's in the context of relationship, it's the it's the source of comfort and safety. This is the first thing that always will come out is when you say I trust you, you always have an association to I am in comfort and safety within your space. Okay. And and we talk a lot about love, but trust and love go hand in hand. And trust leads to acceptance is the first step when you talk about partners, when you talk about going into a job, when you talk about anything where you create a new relationship. The first thing that you do is you build trust. And trust leads to acceptance of whatever you're getting into. It boosts your confidence because you feel safe within, and trust makes you be more positive. And there is a beautiful saying which says people who choose to trust tend to be happier, better liked by others, and more ethical than less trusting people. So trust is such a big role, such a big role in who you are within yourself and with anybody you get into relationship with, whether it is romantic, whether it is within a family, whether it is with friends, whether it goes into workplace, everywhere. It has the same meaning. Now, it's important to know what happens when there's a lack of trust. Uh, Depression, this comes in at the top of the list. Uh, Distrusting a person. So now we are talking about whoever you are in relationship with. It can be romantic, but it can also be workplace oriented. When you have a distrust in a person where whom you're having a relationship, that can lead to one or both of them to feel depressed. The reason is that you actually start to begin to question the entire relationship. And so loss of trust is a beginning of a questioning and potentially ending of a relationship. That brings depression. decrease intimacy. Reduce intimacy occurs when one is focused on mistrust and not involving. So when distrust comes in, then you do not feel safe within that environment, and whether it can be partner, can be workplace, and any form of intimacy, closeness, proximity actually starts to go away because now we start to focus on the mistrust and not in resolving the conflict. Anxiety, so mistrust experienced in a relationship creates incredible amount of anxiety because the mind starts to create all kind of scenarios when there is mistrust. Some of them false positive, but also some of them are real. And so that creates an incredible amount of anxiety within that relationship. And of course, distrust leads to extra caution, suspicion, leads to distancing from the other. And there is that whole thing about insecurity and fear. So when you have not trust within a relationship, you find a lot of fear and sense of insecurity because you open up to the person, your inner self, or something that you wanted to be vulnerable with. Now, so there's a beautiful model set up by Bernie Brown. If you've heard her TED Talk, she's a wonderful TED Talk on vulnerability. And she created this model, she calls it braving. So BRAVING, and each of that word stands for this model. And she talks about that to build trust, you need to have all of those 7 components. And when one or more gets missing, that's when it starts to get broken. So starts with boundary. It is essential that we are clear about our boundaries so that others can understand and respect our limit. This is about when you are talking about trust between two people, it's very important to have those boundaries because that allows you to go to a level with the person and both of them understand where the boundaries are and they get respected. And any lack of setting boundaries or exceeding boundaries starts to create issues of trust. Reliability, so this is when someone does what they say they are going to do, and it's not one time, but over and over again, which means I can rely on you. When you say, I'm going to call you back, you always do. And it's not a statement that you make, well, I will call you back, and you never call back. So reliability is about knowing that when someone says what they are going to do, they do it every time. Accountability, which is the third of the braving, is we trust people who own up their mistakes, so and apologize and make amends. So everyone taking accountability of their actions, and so which means you can imagine what it means. It's basically do not create excuses or blame or etc. So when there is that scenario, the trust starts to go away, and when there's ownership of mistakes and apologies, then it's much easier to trust someone. The vault, and this is something which is interesting one. So we cannot trust someone if they share our personal information with others without our permission. So this Bernie Brown also talks that this surprised her in her research that vault was something which was very big for people. So, and this goes to a level where if the person with whom you want to build trust is talking negative about somebody else, that also breaks the trust because your inner system says, well, I cannot trust him or her because she's breaking somebody else's trust. So vault is very, very important in trust. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort. This goes a little bit with accountability, where you are always, you compromise comfort over courage. So you do not You do not say, well, this is easy for me to do. Let's, let's give an excuse and not face up. So it's a little bit goes together with accountability. Non-judgment, this is about being vulnerable with someone without being judged by them, while they can be vulnerable and not be judged by us. So something we try to do also in this group here, when people share their things, there's one of the very important thing we do is we never judge anybody. And non-judgment is one of the key element of building trust, which means you accept me who I am, as I am. Generosity, if you can assume that the most generous thing about my words, intention, behavior, then check back with me. So it's all about being there, being present, being always present for a person that whom you're making your relationship with. Now, one of the key question I have uh, when we talk about trust is, what about trust with yourself? Because when someone breaks your trust, one of the most this is how one of the most thing that happens is we actually start to break trust in ourselves. And in the work we are going to do today, I'm going to actually start with working with you where you have lost trust on yourself so that we stay objective within ourselves first. So what could be a strategy to build trust in yourself and others? Of course, this takes time and this takes energy and willingness to do that. So we are going to use the braving system within ourselves and find out which of those seven, because there are those seven elements, have more of a reaction within your system. Which of them come up for you stronger? And so, not that all of them will be stronger, some of them will be easy for you, but there could be some which could be very, very difficult. And so, we are going to use the braving model as a way to understand where we have strong reaction to trust, become aware of your inner system, and know how it feels in the area of trust. So that's the first thing, find always. And then the second thing is we build connection within yourselves to your parts that have objection to trust. Build deeper understanding of the fears and the impact on your life. Because the reason you have distrust on yourself, on others, is because something that has happened and the parts, I mean, the whole thing about parts got formed for protectors. And, when we talk about with the parts, we talk about fear. The fear is because of distrust. And we'll understand the fears and the impact to your life, because that's what your inner system and you have to understand what's going on for you because of lack of trust. And of course, what we will do is to connect with those parts, being compassionate and curious, because that's when they start to talk, they start to share their inner stories with you and to help them come out of their place of where they are caught up. And then we will we will find which area are. And what you have to keep doing is to go back to the braving area model and continue to work one at a time. So what we will do for the session today is we will work on two areas, but what you can do uh, using the model is to look at which of those seven have the most impact for you, and you use this model to basically bring trust back into you. And what we will also do is to create a vision of your ideal trusting self. And you continue to do till you feel you have a strong bond to yourself. And trust issues will start to diminish. The inner resistance will go down. So that's the model of change. So we will now get into practicing it. So here we go. So what I want you to do is just be comfortable and just think about one person, or it could be a situation or a person where you have no trust or lack of trust. Just pick a person or a situation where you feel lack of trust, no trust or lack of trust. Just take a moment to be there. You got it. Okay. Now what we are going to do is to use this situation which you have chosen or person, and we will use two of the braving model and we will test around that. So just be comfortable. See that you are sitting and feeling comfortable how you are. You can keep your pen and paper next to you. And while we are in the session, you can always open your eyes and write if you want to. And you can keep your eyes open or you can close your eyes as you feel. And just notice your breath as it goes in and out of your body. Just follow your breath. Don't change anything, just follow. Notice how it goes out of your chest, through your nose, and then coming back as you breathe in and breathe out. And just scan your body to see if there are any sensation in your feet, in your legs, in your thighs, your hip areas, in your belly, in your chest area, in your shoulders, your arms, your neck, your head. Just notice any sensation that you may feel. Now connect to the situation that you brought in and think that situation. And as you think about that situation, notice which of these 7 areas are most challenging for you within that situation. Is it a problem of boundary? Is it a problem of reliability, of ownership of mistake, of keeping secrets, of having integrity, of being judgmental, or not being generous? So think of the situation or the person and note and connect to one of those areas which seems most relevant for you. And as you do that, notice where in your body you feel something, a sensation. It could be in your body or it could be around your body. Just notice where you have a sensation. any kind of sensation. As you think of the situation or person, think of the conditions. Now connect to that sensation wherever you feel it in or around your body. And just notice how you feel towards this sensation. What's the first feeling you get when you connect to this sensation? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is there any kind of guilt? Or sadness? Just notice your feeling towards it. And for the sake of this exercise, see if you can be a bit curious of what it holds, what kind of information there is. Maybe there's more there than you know. So just be curious. And as you become curious towards that, notice how that sensation is changing. It can become intense, it can become lighter. And if it feels overwhelming to you, you can always say, well, don't overwhelm me. I'm here to listen to you. I'm curious about you. And see how it reacts. So this place where you feel sensation, where you connect to, see if you can ask few questions because you're curious now. Just ask a couple of questions. And you can ask, the first question you can ask is, what do you want me to know about you? And see what you hear. As you connect to it and ask it to introduce itself or let you know whatever it wants you to know. So you may hear what it wants you to say, know about itself. And just notice, how do you feel towards it now? You were a bit curious about it. Notice now, how do you feel towards it when it told you about what it wants you to know about itself? And see if you can become a bit compassionate towards it, a bit kind, a bit compassionate towards it. And you can also ask it, what can I name you? How can I name you? And you may get a name, or you can also give a name. And you can write it down, or you can remember it, the name you get for this place, this part of you. Now stay connected with this part, this name part that you have, and ask it, what is your intention for me? And, and hear out what it wants you to know about its intention for you. And just notice how you feel towards it. And see if you can stay compassionate still. And ask it, what kind of impact do you try to have on me or people around me? What kind of impact do you have on me or specific people around me? And see how it responds to you. You can always note on a paper if you want to. Now ask it, what are you afraid would happen to me? And see how it responds. And you can always ask it, and then what will happen if that happens? And see what it tells you. Now ask it again, what are you really, really afraid would happen to me? What it told you is what it is protecting you from. So you can ask this part, since when are you doing this for me? When did it all start? And you may get a number, an age. Just don't judge it. Just notice what age it tells you. So you can ask again, what age did it all start? What age did you start doing this for me? And you can ask another question saying, what was going on at that time that made you appear? And notice if it makes sense to you. What is this telling, and how do you feel towards it now? Just notice if you feel sad or if you feel guilty or anything. Stay being curious and compassionate. And if it feels difficult, just breathe into that part till you feel compassion for that part and the story it told you. And notice what meaning you make of it. What does it mean to you, what it just told you? Now you can ask the part again, you can call it by name, saying, do you like doing this inside of me, or you're forced to do it? and see if the answer surprises you. Now ask it, if you had another choice of doing something else, would you still do the same, or you would do something else? See what it responds to you. And notice how you feel towards it now. Still being compassionate, ask it, would you like me to heal that little one that it showed you when it all started? And see what it tells you. It may accept, it may be hesitant. And if it accepts to heal the little one, just thank it. And if it is still hesitant, ask it what needs to happen for you to relax and to allow to heal the little one. And see what it tells you. What needs to happen for you to relax and allow to heal the little one? Hear the answer and see if you can continue to stay compassionate towards it. Maybe a bit of courage. And you can ask again, would you be okay to heal the little one? And if it now gives you permission, you can say to this part that, yeah, you can stay around, you can observe while we together work to heal the little one. And see if you can connect to the little one, the age when it said it all started. It can be as young as 1 year old, 2 year old, or it could be a teenage version. Doesn't matter what age it showed you. See if you can bring this person, this younger version of you, in front of you. Have the younger version stand right in front of you, looking towards you. And just look into the eyes and see if it's looking at you or looking away from you. And if it is looking at you, notice how it feels. How do you feel towards it? And if it is looking away from you, take a step, a couple of steps towards the younger one. You can go next to a younger one if you have to, as long as she or he feels comfortable. And see if it is looking at you. And just notice again how you feel towards it, towards the younger version of you. You may feel sad or even frustrated or angry. Just see if you can become compassionate towards it. This is a younger one which did not have resources at that time, that now you're bringing to it. So just be compassionate towards it. And notice how the younger one feels or senses as you become compassionate towards it. And you can even ask the younger one, how do you feel about my presence here? And see what it responds back to you. And just notice, how do you feel towards the younger one? Now ask to the little one, tell me your story. Let it speak. Let it share with you everything that happened then. And it may share with you events that could be of an elder one as well. It doesn't matter. Let it share whatever it wants you to know. And all you do is you listen to it and you stay in a place of compassion and love. And let it share. If it feels hesitant, just move towards the little one. You can hold the hand, give assurance that you are here to hear, to heal, to set it free. So let her or him tell you his story, the events, the feelings, the beliefs. You can always ask, do you want to tell me more? If it wants to, let the younger one speak. And you are only hearing. So after I told you what I wanted you to know, ask the younger one, what did not happen that should have happened then? And let it respond. Stay in a place of compassion as you hear the answer to the question, what should have happened then that did not happen? Now see in your own words if you can assure the little one that you're going to take care. What the little one missed that time, you are going to take care of it. And you can also say this was in the past, now we are here. And in your own words, if you can assure the little one. Now ask the little one, do you want to leave that place and move to a place where it feels safe. It can go wherever it wants to, but ask it, do you want to leave that place and move to a safer place? And see what it responds. If there is any sense of hesitation, then you can always ask a question, what should happen for you to trust and leave that place, and see what it responds. And can you give it an assurance that you are going to take care? Now, tell to the younger one, well, before you leave that place, let's release all of this into either water or fire or air or earth so that it is gone. So let it choose where it wants to release, either into water or into fire, into earth or into air, everything it shared with you. So depending on what it chose, what you're going to do is to help it release everything to one of that healing medium, whatever the little one chose, and you observe it all releasing there till it is done. Take some time. And you can ask the little one, do you want to release something else that you did not share as well, but you want to release to this healing medium? And when it says yes, let it release. Now ask to the little one, what qualities did you lose because you were stuck there? What qualities would you have liked to have? And let it give you the qualities. You can write them down as well. And see if you can bring those qualities into every cell of your body. Now ask to the little one, where do you want to go? It can choose to come to you, or you can also choose to go somewhere else, wherever it feels safe. And see that the little one, the younger one, is going to the place it wants to go. And see it integrate into a life, either with you or with somewhere else. And just notice where it went and take note of it. And you can tell to the little one that I'm going to be back. talking to you. Now bring back the part that you connected in the beginning, the one you named, and see if it acknowledges what just happened. And you can ask it, what do you think about what just happened? And hear it. Now see if you can share a vision about the trusting self that is you. How would you like to be a trusting person, the ideal version of you? See if you can share to all your system, to everyone inside of you. And let this little part of you that you're connected with now know that you're going to be back. And you're going to connect it every day. And try and understand more with it. Thank it for its presence. Thank the younger one of you for coming in, getting healed. When you feel ready, you can just start to come back. And if you have been writing, if you want to write something, just take a moment to write as I prepare for a short tuning fork session. Okay, so we are going to start with opening of the two centers. The one center is above your head and the second one below your feet, and whatever comes in between, we will use to release whatever has come up for you in the previous one. So all you have to do is to remember to breathe. So the breathing is you take your breath in through your nose, deep breath, fill up your lungs, and then breathe out from your mouth. Something like that, okay? So you will hear me breathe and you just breathe with me, okay? That's all. And then you will hear tuning fork and just relax and be with it, okay? So I'm going to start at the bottom of your feet. So just relax, open to receive. We are going to start at the bottom and breathe a bit as well. Okay, here we go. So I'm just at the bottom of your feet. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take another breath. If something is coming up to melt away, allow it to melt. So a lot going into the left shoulder. So throat center, left side. Breathe. So I'm going to ground you. Take a breath. So that was connecting to Mother Earth. Now I'll connect to Divine. So you go to the top of the head. And open the center just at the top of the head. So there's a little bit of resistance there. Take a breath. I'm going to use a different tuning fork to open up. So there's a resistance on top of the head. Okay, there you go. So I have a lot going on the left side of the shoulder. So it's about what you wanted to say and could not say. So this is the throat center. So all about expression. So see if you can connect to any event, anything where you could not express and you had to stay within yourself and it doesn't feel good for you. On the mother side, things you wanted to say or express but were not allowed to do or was dangerous, was not safe. So connect to that time or whatever comes up and just breathe into it. So I'm going to use another tuning fork to release it. Breathe. So it got lighter still. If something is releasing or wants to release, just breathe into that. So now in your mother zone, so if your mother also could not speak for herself, just see if you can send love to her. Yeah. Okay. And he's saying it's not necessarily mother, it could also be a father who could not speak for himself.
just send love to either the father or mother, whoever could not speak for themselves. Send. Just release. Okay, so whatever was come up, I'm going to release it out. Okay. Just going to close. Just relax.